Namaste. I am Dr. B. Krishna Reddy, Principal of Samala Krishna Agricultural Polytechnic College, Tangelavaripalli, near Mudivedu, Tamballapalli Mandal, Chittoor district. Today, we are going to study the water softening methods. That is, up to now, we have studied the hardening of hard water. What are the reasons for hard water? What are the problems that are going to be encountered while using the hard water? Now, today we study the methods of removing the hardness or converting the hard water into soft water. So, in this, water used for industrial purposes like steam generation should be sufficiently pure. Though hard water is not suitable for many purposes, especially for industrial uses, the water that is going to be used is to be sufficiently pure. Hardness producing salt should be removed before the water is put to industrial use. So, if hard water is only available, then that hardness should be removed by eliminating the salts that are responsible for hardness before putting such type of water into industrial use. The process of removing hardness producing salts from the water is known as softening of the water. So, the process of removing the hardness producing salts from the water, that is from the hard water, is known as softening of the water. It is an external treatment method. So, this softening of the water is a external treatment method. That is, before inputting such water, it is treated before the usage. So, it is called as external treatment. The main methods used in industry for softening of the water are, so there are so many methods. In that, the main methods are four, which are used in industries to soften the water. They are lime soda process. Number two, zeolite or permuttite process. Number three, ion exchange or deionization. Number four, mixed bed deionization. In this, once again, lime soda process, it is subdivided into two. One is a cold lime soda process. Number two, hot lime soda process. Likewise, this zeolite or permuttite process is also divided into two sub-methods. One is a natural zeolites, second is a synthetic zeolites. So this is wherever the natural zeolites are used to soften, that is one method, and in some cases synthetic zeolites are used to soften the water. Then third one is once again divided into cation exchange resins, anion exchange resins. In the ion exchange method, wherever the cation exchange resins are used, that is one method. The other method is where the anion exchange resins are used to remove the hardness of the water. Finally, the fourth one is mixed bed deionization method. Now that we know the different methods of softening of the water, now let us look into the process of softening, that is the chemical reactions that are happening in this process of softening the water. One, that is lime soda process. It is simply called a LS process. In this method, the soluble calcium and magnesium salts in water are chemically converted into insoluble compounds by adding a calculated amount of lime, that is calcium hydroxide, and soda, that is sodium carbonate. Kindly remember these two chemical compounds, which are the main compounds used in the softening of the water. lime. Students are expected to note down the chemical formula also. Lime is nothing but calcium hydroxide. Formula is CaOH twice. Soda, chemical formula is Na2CO3. Name is sodium carbonate. If we say sodium carbonate, it is soda. If we say lime, it is calcium hydroxide. Now let us see, by using these two chemical compounds, how the hardness of water is being removed. First of all, when the hardness of water is caused by calcium ions, what happens? Let us see. Ca2 plus. This is the ion that is responsible for hardness. Then if it reacts with the sodium carbonate, that is soda, it gives rise to calcium carbonate and two sodium ions. Then if the hard water contains magnesium salts, they will get dissociated into magnesium ions, that is Mg2 plus. When it come in contact with the soda, that is sodium carbonate, the end products will be magnesium carbonate, which is a precipitate like calcium carbonate, and get settled. And in the process, two sodium plus ions are released. Okay. Then coming to the reaction of lime, that is calcium hydroxide. Like the above, we will repeat the same thing. Wherever this Mg2 plus ions are present in the hot water, when we use the lime, that is calcium hydroxide, both will get react and form into magnesium hydroxide, which is precipitates and go down, and calcium 2 plus ions are also formed. Finally, when the hardness is caused by the bicarbonates, in which case bicarbonate ions, that is 2HCO3, are present in the hard water, it get reacts with the calcium hydroxide, that is lime, and forming into calcium carbonate, once again a precipitate, and water, and two calcium ions are released. Likewise, if the hard water contains ferrous minerals, then Fe2 plus will be there. When it reacts with the calcium hydroxide or lime, then it forms into ferrous hydroxide plus two cations. Finally, when ferrous hydroxide formed here will react with the water molecule in the presence of oxygen, then we get ferric hydroxide, FeO3. Okay, these are the chemical reactions that happen when the hard water is being treated with lime and soda. Okay, these are the end products that we have shown as precipitates, that is calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, magnesium hydroxide. So precipitate are filtered off. These get precipitated and get down into the container. They then will get filtered off from the container, and the water above will be soft water. Okay. Then now, after seeing these equations, let us understand what happens in the cold lime soda process. So, in the cold lime soda process, calculated amount of lime, that is for certain level of hardness, certain amount of lime and soda need to be used. There will be a required table for that. Based on that, they will use the quantity of the lime and soda to treat the water based on its seriousness of the hardness of water. That is, if it is too hard, then the requirement of lime and soda will be more compared to less harder water. Okay. So in this method, what we do is this lime and soda will be mixed with water at a room temperature. That is, no heating will take place. Here the chemical reactions are very slow because it allowed to react at the room temperature, and the precipitates formed are finely divided. As we shown in the above equation, same chemical reaction will take place, but at a slower phase, resulting in the same type of precipitates which we are shown in the above equations. But if the precipitate will be very finely divided, that means that coagulation, that is becoming big particles will not be there, so it will be finely divided, so they do not settle down easily. When these precipitates are very finely divided with very small sized size particles, then they will get suspended in the water itself. They will not get settled immediately, and filtration becomes difficult. So filtration of this type of things will be very difficult. This eventually results in the after deposition, later in the pipes, valves, etc. So the hard water which is treated in this method of cold lime soda process, though the soft water is prepared like this, it will still contain the suspended fine particles of this precipitate, which subsequently settles and creates problems of corrosion subsequently. Coagulants and accelerators are added to water to overcome this problem. So, to overcome this problem of finely divided precipitate particles suspended in the water without getting settled fast will create certain problems. To overcome this, what is suggested is use of coagulants or the accelerator substances. This means they will make this finely divided suspense precipitate material into bigger size, so that the settlement will be faster and the filtration process become easier. So accelerators like activated charcoal. What is the accelerators which accelerates the process of coagulation is called accelerators. Certain accelerators are charcoal, that is activated charcoal, which brings down the fine particles. And the coagulants, what are the coagulants? Are alum, sodium aluminate, aluminum sulfate. These are the substances that help in the formation of a coarse precipitates. That is, from fine precipitate, the particle size will increase by coagulation process, and these cores are bigger size particles. By entrapping the fine particles, they settle at the bottom of the vessel very easily. So like this, the particles which settle to the bottom will get filtered very easily. Okay, so let us see how these accelerators or coagulants act to get the coagulation processes. We'll see. Sodium aluminate, that is NaAlO2, when it reacts with the water, NaOH and AlOH3, that is sodium hydroxide and aluminum hydroxide will form. This aluminum hydroxide is a bigger size coagulant particles. They will get settled easily. Then comes to the aluminum sulfate. When it reacts with the calcium bicarbonate present in the hard water, it gives rise to two molecules of aluminum hydroxide, which is a bigger size particles, that is coagulation, which gets settled very fast. In addition to that, calcium sulfate and carbon dioxide will also form. Okay. Use of sodium aluminate as a coagulant also helps in removal of the silica as well as oil if present in the water. So one important thing is that if water is containing silica particles or some oil leakages, such water will also get purified from these impurities when we use the sodium aluminate as a coagulant. So cold lime soda process provides water containing a residual hardness of 50 to 60 milligrams per liter. So when we using this cold lime soda process, when the hot water is treated, don't think that it will become 100% soft water. Still, there will be some residual hardness in them. That residual hardness is calculated as 50 to 60 milligrams per liter water. But this is usable in the industry because this is a tolerable level. Okay, then let us go to the second method, that is hot lime soda process. In the hot lime soda process, water is treated with softening chemicals at a temperature of 80 degrees to 150 degrees. This is the difference. Previously, hot water is treated with chemicals at room temperatures. Here, when we are treating the hot water with the same type of chemicals also, but at a temperature of 80 to 150 degrees centigrade. Since hot process is operated at temperatures close to the boiling point of water, it has advantages like this. Since this temperature range of between 80 to 150, most of the water or most of the substances are at their boiling points. So, because of this, the following advantages are there. Number one, reaction proceed faster and the softening capacity is increased many folds. So, whenever any chemical reaction is happening due to rise in the temperature, this chemical process especially will speed up and it will be done faster, and thereby the softening process or softening capacity also increases manifold. Number two, the precipitate formed settle down rapidly and hence coagulants are not needed. So in the previous cold lime soda process, we are forced to use the coagulants to get the settlement easily and rapidly. Whereas in this hot lime soda process, there is no need for usage of coagulants because the precipitate will settle very rapidly. Number three, much of the dissolved gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen are removed. When the water is getting heated at a high temperatures ranging from 80 to 150 degrees centigrade, the dissolved gases, as we already discussed in the previous chapter, CO2 and O2 are dissolved in the hot water. They will also get automatically removed, and these gases will go out from the hot water, from the water. Number four, filtration becomes easier as the viscosity of the softened water is lower. When we are heating, what happens is the viscosity of the water will get lowered. Because of this, the filtration process will become easy. This in turn increases the filtration capacity of the filters. So, the efficiency of filtration will improve in this hot lime soda method compared to cold lime soda treatment. Okay. And the fifth advantage is hot LS process produces water of comparatively lower residual hardness of 15 to 30 milligrams per liter. In fact, in this method also, though hardness of the water is removed, but still it cannot remove 100%. Still there will be some residual hardness present in the water. But compared to the water treated under cold lime soda process, the water produced under hot lime soda process is more purer. That means the residual hardness will be around 15 to 30 mg per liter compared to 50 to 60 mg per liter in the cold process. Okay, then what are the advantages of this lime soda process. It is very easy economical. Easy or it is very economical. That means financial or economic viability wise, this is very economical and cheaper compared to other methods. Number two, the process increases the pH of the treated water, thereby corrosion of the distribution pipes is reduced. Very important. After this lime soda process, what happens is, in addition to removal of the hardness, the pH of the treated water will be higher, increases. Why? Lime and these are alkaline things, and when the water is treated with this, the pH level instead of neutral, generally water will be at neutral pH or slightly acidic. After treatment, the water becomes becomes at more pH. So this, because of the more pH, that means water becomes less acidic and more alkaline. So because of acidity, generally corrosion of the distribution pipes will be there. Due to increase in pH, that problem of corrosion due to acidity will not be there in the distribution pipes. Number three, besides the removal of the hardness, the quantity of minerals in the water is reduced. So not only the salts that are responsible for the hardness are removed, but other minerals also removed from the water due to this treatment. That is why the quantity of minerals in the water are reduced. Number four, iron and manganese are also removed to certain extent. So because of the process, iron and manganese are also removed, which are harmful for the industrial usage. Number five, due to alkaline nature of treated water, number of pathogenic microbes in water is considerably reduced. So when as already explained above, the water becomes alkaline in nature. When the alkaline nature is there, the pathogens or microorganisms which are accustomed to live under acidic conditions, they cannot survive. Therefore, after treatment, the water contains less number of microorganisms in it. Then disadvantages of the lime soda process. For efficient and economical softening, careful operation and skilled supervision is required. Since this involves the chemical reactions, applying carefully the required chemicals and ensuring the chemical reactions take place properly, it should be done in a very careful manner and skilled supervision is required. Number two, disposal of large amounts of sludge or insoluble precipitate poses the problem. Here, in this lime soda process, the hardness causing salts, when get precipitated after treatment, they will form as a sludge. That sludge will go down, and removing this type of sludge itself is a problem. However, it may be used to raise low lying areas of the city. So disposal of the sludge, which is removed in huge quantities after treatment, will be difficult. However, if you dispose it off in the agriculture lands, definitely it is harmful. But in industrial areas or in areas which are not used for agricultural purpose, when there is a low lying areas, to fill such pits or low lying areas, this sludge can be used and it will be disposed of in such areas. Next, number three, it leaves some residual hardness which is not good for boilers. As already explained earlier, in spite of the treatments given through lime soda method, still the water contains some hardness. It is not 100% soft. So this residual hardness itself is harmful when such type of water is used in for steam generation in the boilers. Okay. Now let us see the continuous hot lime soda softeners. This is a pictorial representation of the process out under hot lime soda's method. Hard water is being treated to make it soft water. See, for example, this figure may also be needed to be drawn in the examination while explaining this method so that students can get the full marks. Now just imagine this is a big tank used for treatment of the hot water. Into this tank there is a raw water feed inlet, that is the hard water is fed into this big tank, vertical tank, through a pipe. Then there is a superheated steam inlet, that means very highly temperature I mean used steam will come inside. The steam containing very high temperature is passed into the tank and heat up the water. Then below that is called the reaction tank. Here on the other side there is an inlet for chemicals, that is lime and soda is fed into this tank through another inlet. So that means the raw water, which is hard water, and the superheated steam in the presence of the chemicals like lime and soda will undergo a reaction, and that is called the reaction tank. After getting reacted, then the soft water will go to the another soft water tank. There fine sand layer will be there, followed by coarse sand layer. Below that there will be a sand filter. There will be a gravel layer. When this soft water passes through this many layers, finally we will get the filtered soft water outside through an outlet. This is how it happens. Here in this big tank where the hot water is getting treated with the chemical soda and lime, then conical sedimentation tank. So below that there is a conical shape at the bottom. This is called as a sedimentation tank because the precipitates of the various hardening causing hardening causing elements or the salts react and the precipitation will come down. So it is called conical sedimentation tank. Then precipitated sludge. Entire thing when it settled at the bottom, it looks like a sludge. Sludge contains what? Calcium carbonate, magnesium hydroxide. If the hardness is caused by the bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. So this precipitate or sludge outlet will be there. This sludge will be removed from here and this will be disposed of in low-lying areas to raise their level, as we already explained. Okay, now coming to the second method. So the above method is the number one method where lime and soda are used. Then there is a main method, second method, that is zeolite or permute process. In this process, zeolite is hydrated sodium aluminum silicate. What is that zeolite? The chemical name is hydrated, that is containing water, sodium aluminum silicate. It will contain sodium, aluminum and silicate, capable of exchanging reversibly its sodium ions for hardness producing cations in water. Here, this zeolite is capable of exchanging its ions with exchanging its sodium ions with the cations of the hardness producing substances. So chemical structure of sodium zeolite may be represented as Na2O, Al2O3, X SiO2 into YH2O, where X is ranges from 2 to 10. That means these are not fixed. Silicon molecules may vary from 2 to 10. Y, that is water molecules, may range from 2 to 6. This is what it means. So it will not have a fixed number of silica or water molecules in its chemical composition. Okay, because of this notation is being given. Zeolite, also called as permutes, are of two types, synthetic and natural. So zeolite, other name is permutes, and this permutes has two types. One is a synthetic one, the other one is natural permute or natural zeolite. Okay, first let us see natural zeolites. They are non-porous. So this natural zeolite is a non-porous one. It will not have small pores in it. Natrolite, Na2OAl2O3 4SiO2 2H2O. This entire thing we can represent for easy understanding as Ze. Okay. Then synthetic zeolites are porous compared to non-porous nature of natural zeolites. Synthetic zeolites are porous. That means it contains small pores in it and possesses gel structure. They look like a gels. They are prepared by heating together china clay, feldspars, and soda ash. These synthetic zeolites are manufactured or through heating together of china clay, feldspar, and soda ash. These three things, when heated at a higher temperature, you get the synthetic zeolites. Synthetic zeolites have high higher exchange capacity per unit weight that natural zeolites have. That means these synthetic zeolites are more efficient compared to the natural zeolites. Now let us see what is the chemical process that will take place in reducing the hardness of a water. For softening water by zeolite process, hard water is percolated at a specific rate through a bed of zeolite kept in a cylinder. Here, there will be a big cylinder in which the hard water is being treated. In that cylinder, there is bed of zeolite kept in the cylinder. A thick bed of zeolite is being arranged in the cylinder as shown in the figure. Let us see how the this this is a picture where zeolite is used in the softening of the water. This is a big tank where hard water is going to be treated with the zeolite to make it softer. In this tank, in the middle, we can see this is a zeolite bed. A thick layer of zeolite is kept here. Below that, there will be a layer of gravel, and this is the inlet through which the hard water is pumped into the tank containing the zeolite bed, followed by gravel. When then sodium chloride solution storage, this injector, this sodium chloride solution, when it will be pumped here, we will explain in the following discussions. And then this to sink this from this water, then after treatment the water flows inside, and this is the soft water outlet. Kindly roughly remember this figure in your mind. While discussing the subsequent process, we can understand it easily. Okay. So process, now we will once again let us see the process after seeing the when representative figure. We will start understanding it slowly by going through the process. For softening of the water by zeolite process, hard water is percolated at a specific rate through the bed of zeolite kept in the cylinder. So the hard water is allowed to pass through the geolytic bed in the cylinder to become soft water. So the hardness causing ions like calcium ions and magnesium ions are retained by the zeolite while the outgoing water contains sodium salts. So while the hard water is percolating through the zeolite bed, what happens is the calcium 2 plus and magnesium 2 plus ions, which are responsible for the hardness, will be retained. That means will be withheld by the zeolite, and the outgoing water contains only sodium salts. This calcium and magnesium got filtered here. Reactions taking place during the softening process are as under. What is the type of reaction that is taking place in the zeolite bed with the salts present in the hard water is as under. Na2Ze. Instead of writing entire zeolitic formula, we are writing as a Ze. Sodium zeolite plus calcium bicarbonate. This is the hardening causing substance. When it is hot water is going through the zeolitic bed, it reacts with the sodium zeolite, then gives rise to calcium zeolite plus NaHCO3, that is sodium bicarbonate. Then this Na2Za plus magnesium chloride, that is gives rise to magnesium zeolite and sodium chloride. Okay. Na2Za, sodium zeolite plus calcium ions gives rise to calcium zeolite plus 2 sodium ions. Sodium zeolite plus magnesium ions 2 plus gives rise to magnesium zeolite plus 2 sodium. That means here the ions of the zeolite and the ions present in the hardness causing substances are getting exchanged in the zeolite bed. That is how the hardness of water is being removed. Now, regeneration of zeolite. After some time, the zeolite is completely converted into calcium and magnesium zeolites, and it cannot soften the water further. It gets exhausted. So, in the cylinder for treatment of hard water, this zeolitic bed is there, but after usage of some time, what happens? This entire zeolite bed will become calcium and magnesium zeolite, and further it cannot absorb or exchange ions. So at that stage, it will stop converting the hard water into soft water. That means its usage get exhausted. At this stage, the supply of hot water is stopped and the exhausted zeolite is reclaimed by treating with a concentrated brine or sodium chloride with a 10% solution. That is why in the figure we have seen on the left side of it, there is a sodium chloride solution tank and there is one injector. Whenever this zeolite bed has become non-functional after treating certain amount of hot water, to rejuvenate it, 10% brine solution or 10% sodium chloride solution will be pumped into it. This is why this tank is there. Okay. Then, in the process of regeneration of zeolitic bed, the chemical reactions that took place is calcium zeolite. That is, after treating the hard water, the zeolite bed will become calcium zeolite and magnesium zeolite. After adding this 10% sodium chloride, the reaction that takes place is calcium zeolite plus two molecules of sodium chloride gives rise to sodium zeolite plus calcium chloride. Likewise, magnesium zeolite after reacting with sodium chloride gives rise to sodium zeolite and magnesium chloride. So this is called exhausted zeolite and added with sodium chloride, that is a brine solution. This sodium chloride solution is also known as brine solution that regenerates the or washing capacity of zeolite. Automatically, this becomes sodium zeolite and magnesium chloride and calcium chloride we can separate. So, like this, regeneration of zeolite will takes place. This is also important how regeneration of zeolite is being done by passing through the brine solution. Okay, the washings contained calcium chloride and magnesium chloride are led to a drain, and the regenerated zeolite bed can again be used for softening. So, this calcium chloride and magnesium chloride will be allowed to pass into the drainage, and this zeolitic bed got regenerated, and this can be reused once again for softening of the water. So, now let us see what are the limitations of this zeolitic process in removing the hardness. If the water is turbid, the suspended matter should be removed before it is sent to the zeolitic bed because the turbidity will clog the pores of a zeolite bed, making it inactive. So, whenever we are using this zeolitic process, the water, hard water that is being inputted into the tanks should be very clear. Suppose such water is turbid, then the small particles that are present in the turbid water will go and clog the small pores present in the zeolitic bed, and thereby it makes the zeolite inactive. That is one of the limitations. That means whenever we want to use the zeolitic process, the hard water should be very clear. It should not be turbid. అంటే మురుకు మురిగ్గా ఉండడానికి లేదు. వాటర్ చాలా క్లియర్ గా ఉండాలి. This is one limitation. The second one, if the large quantities of colored ions like manganese and ferrous be removed first, because manganese and iron zeolites produced by these ions cannot be easily regenerated. And one more limitation is, if the hard water contains lot of manganese and iron, then those things should be removed first. Then only the water has to be fed into this system. Otherwise, what happens? This manganese and iron will form into manganese and iron zeolites, which are cannot be easily regenerated. If it is reacted with the iron and manganese, then the zeolite will not become will become non-generative, regenerated. That means it cannot be regenerated easily. Okay. Then third limitation is if the mineral acids are present in water, destroy the geolytic bed. So they should be neutralized with soda before sending water to the geolytic bed. So whenever this geolytic bed process is being used to remove the hardness of the water, then mineral acids should not be present in the water. Suppose if mineral acids are present, that need to be removed before using this method. Otherwise, these acids will destroy the geolytic bed and it become less efficient. So then there are certain advantages also in using the geolytic method of softening the water. These advantages are: number one, it removes the hardness almost completely. The residual hardness is not only about 10 it is only about 10 mg per liter. So as already we have discussed, the water treated will not become 100% soft. Still there will be some residues, but the residual hardness present after treating the water through geolytic bed method, it is very minimal. That is 10 mg per liter compared to 50 mg per liter when the water is treated under soda and lime method. Okay. Number two advantage is no impurities are precipitated, so there is no danger of sludge formation in the treated water at the later stage. As already we discussed, in the lime soda method, there is a huge amount of sludge formed whose disposal itself is a problem. Such type of sludge formation and its disposal will not be there in this geolytic method. Number three advantage, the equipment used is compact, occupy a small area, small space. Compared to soda, lime and soda method, this geolytic method requires smaller sized machinery and equipment, and therefore it requires small space compared to lime soda method, which requires big tanks and big equipment. Number four, it is quite clean and also requires less time for softening. This geolytic method is very fast and it can be done very easily. Number five, the process automatically adjusts itself for variation in the hardness of incoming water. One more thing is in the lime soda method, required quantity of the treating chemical should be first decided depending upon the hardness of the water. Whereas such type of precision is not required, we need not do any other thing except allowing the hard water to pass through the geolytic bed. That means the process is automatic. And number six, it requires less skill for maintenance and operation. So this geolytic method is automatic and there is not much complication. So less skill is required even to maintain this type of equipment and machinery. In spite of all these, there are bound to be certain disadvantages also. Let us see what they are. Number one, in the geolytic method, the treated water contains more sodium salts. More sodium salts in this method, sodium salts will be more. Number two, water with high turbidity cannot be treated efficiently because fine impurities get deposited under the geolite bed. We already studied that before treating turbid water, turbidity to be removed. So when the water that is available, if it is turbid, then these small suspended particles will get deposited in the small pores of the geolite and thereby it becomes inefficient. So turbidity should not be there in the water. And another disadvantage is The method replaces only hardness producing cations. Anions are left as such in water. So in this zeolitic process, what the chemical reactions are ultimately resulting is producing the, and if they will react with the hardness producing cations and remove them. But if the hardness is caused by the anions, then this process will prove to be inefficient. When this softened water contains sodium bicarbonate or sodium carbonate, etc., is used for steam generation in boilers, problems like corrosion are possible. When the softened water, after softening the water, if contains sodium hydroxide, bicarbonate and sodium carbonate is used for steam generation, then the boilers will get corroded. Example, sodium bicarbonate decomposes into to produce carbon dioxide, which causes which convert into carbonic acid, and then that will corrode the boilers. And in addition to that, hydrolysis of sodium carbonate produces sodium hydroxide, which causes caustic embrittlement. This we already studied. What is a caustic embrittlement? Okay. Now here is a table which contains the comparative study of permutate process, that is called zeolitic process, with the lime soda process. That means the differences of lime soda process and the zeolite process are given in a tabular form. Very important. Entire thing what we studied up to now is kept in this table in a very concise way. Students invariably should study this and to be remembered from the examination point of view. See, first let us see number 1 under zeolite process. Second is the lime soda process. So under permutate process or zeolite process, water of 10 to 15 mg per liter residual hardness is obtained, whereas here residual hardness is 15 to 50 mg per liter. Second, large amount of sodium salts in treated water. After treatment also, there will be large quantities of sodium salts present under permutate process, whereas lesser amount of sodium salts will be present in the treated water. Number 3, cost of plant and material, that is capital cost is higher, but operational expenses are lower, whereas this lime soda method, capital cost is lower and operation cost is higher. Number 4, acidic water cannot be treated because acidic water causes disintegration of zeolite. No such limitation is there in this method. Number 5, the plant occupies less space. This I already explained. Whereas this lime soda method, plant occupies more space. Sixth point, suspended matter must be removed before treatment. That is, wherever there is turbidity, it needs to be removed. No such requirement is there in this second method. 7, it can operate under pressure and can be made fully automatic, whereas lime soda method, it can be operated under pressure. It cannot be operated under pressure, and it cannot be automated also. That point also you can add here. Eighth difference is formation of precipitates or sludge does not occur, so filtration is not required. So in this zeolite process, there is no point of formation of any sludge, so filtration is very easy. In the lime soda method, involves difficulty in settling and filtration is required to remove the precipitate. That means sludge will be there. There is a difficulties in filtration. Even after filtration, disposal of the sludge itself is a problem. Ninth difference, automatically adjust to the changes in hardness of incoming water. Automatically, the zeolite will react with the quantity of the hardness substances present in the hard water and soft water is generated. That means it is automatic adjustment. Whereas in lime soda method, with change in the hardness of incoming water, frequent control and adjustment reagents is needed. That is, the quantity of the chemical used to reduce the hardness will vary depending upon the hardness of the water. Finally, 10th difference, treated water contains more dissolved solids in the zeolitic method, whereas treated water contains lesser amount of dissolved solids in the soft water that is being produced after treatment. With this, today we will conclude the chapter. Then we will see the remaining two methods of treating the hard water in the next class. Thank you very much.